Before now, thank you, Funaya, for joining back. Thank you for your questions. You have been a darling. Like I said, we are talking about on dispelling the misconceptions we have on mental health. And we said many times you see that many people, their mental health issues is now something that we cannot work ar- that is, the thing is so embarrassing. I've seen an adult, because her visa was denied, and she was been there at the airport. So the shock of the money she spent, and you know what it means to have tell your family that you are leaving Nigeria. Are you getting it? Then
Yes.
she was like that. After 1 week or so, she couldn't get the visa, and she returned back to her family in Nigeria. Lo and below, her mental state changed. She couldn't, she started acting strange because she allowed the shock to enter the brain. Are you getting it? I've seen some people, because of the the shock, the trauma they passed through. Some of them have seen a lady issue of rape. Up to today, her mental health was destroyed. Are you getting it? So, and there are many cases, you can see many cases of some Yahoo boys, some girls, maybe because of the drugs they have been taking. Are you getting it? So the thing affected their brain. And normally you can see someone, I always tell people, take care of your mental health. Don't take what you can see. Are you getting it? It's not
Mm.
every information that you can accept. It's not every information that you can take. There are some information, especially of loved ones, that when it wants to come to you, find a way to remove yourself, so that that information will not come to you immediately like a shock. And what I noticed in Africa is that we don't know actually how to talk to pass information to people. Are you getting it? You can come to a bank to collect your money now, and bank knows that you have like 7 million or 10 million in the account, or even if it's 20,000 naira in the account, and they will just tell you, "Sorry, your money was just hijacked by some people. Please, will you go and sort it out?" Or they will just talk to you as if the money is paper. Are you getting it? Without knowing
Yes.
what you pass through, what you sacrifice to keep that kind of money in your account, even if it's 5,000 naira. The shop, some people will say, what is 5,000 naira? What is money that will enter you? The person know what he passes through. The person know the kind of job you have done to earn that little. Are you getting me? So, as a
Yes.
health professional, nurse Liberty, we want you to enlighten us, because the name of this talk show is Enlightening Minds Talk Show. So what we do here is to educate people how to take information, what to accept, what not to accept, the truth about everything there. Because in Nigeria, anybody can wake up in the morning and say anything they like. Are you getting it? Certain false
Yes.
information to people. So, number one question that we are going to ask is, what are the common minds surrounding mental health that you have encountered as a health professional, and how can we discuss that? Please, can you throw more light?
Okay. First of all, when can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me
Yeah,
very well?
I'm
Okay.
hearing you.
First of all, when it comes to mental health, a lot of people don't want to hear when they just hear mental health, they feel like, oh, somebody is running mad. But actually, mental health actually involves physiological, emotional, and social well-being. And our mental health actually shows in how we act, how we feel, and how we talk to people. And our mental health actually affects our interaction with people. Our mental health determines how we can handle stress. So it means that someone that has a healthy mental state actually knows how to manage stress. And with all this I've said, it shows that our mental health is very, very important. And mental health does not actually mean that somebody is sick. It just shows the state of your it shows your mental state. Now, there are lots of misconceptions that flood our society towards mental health. And one of the misconceptions is that whenever you hear somebody going to see a psychologist, they just believe that you have a mental problem. But that doesn't mean you have a mental problem, because you going to meet the psychologist or the psychiatrist, you're actually going there to check your mental state if you're actually healthy. Because according to WHO, the way they classify health, it is not just physical, it is physical, spiritual, social, and mental well-being. You understand? So it's just like somebody going to the hospital. It doesn't mean you are sick. That's why you're going to the hospital. You can go to check up. You say, okay, is there anything that is going to show that I'm going to fall sick? You get. So one of the biggest misconceptions we have is that people believe that whenever you go to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, it means that you have issues with your mental state. And now in Nigeria, very much in our society, based on my experience, I've actually seen a lot of misconception. The second common one I've actually seen. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
The
hearing
second one
you.
I've actually seen is that they believe that people that have mental issues, they must have done something wrong to offend nature. Like in Nigeria now, when they see somebody that is mentally ill, the first thing they think is, oh, this person must have done something that is a taboo, or this person must have done money ritual. So because of that stigma that comes with it, most people don't actually reach out to the mentally ill patient. For example, there was a case that happened where I work, in my community where I work. There's actually a guy, he's mentally ill, but nobody is actually thinking of helping him at all, because they believe that there's something that happened in the family lineage that is causing this mental illness. Also, where I stay, I've seen someone that the guy actually had mental illness, and his own is kind of funny, because another misconception that we have is they believe that people that have mental illness, they are violent. So this particular guy, what he does is every day in front of our streets, he sits down and stares at the road. So most persons will not believe that that person is mentally ill. They just say, oh, maybe it's just the in a life stress and you get. But that is actually one misconception. We just believe that anybody that has mental illness, the person must be violent, the person must be rash and the rest. But actually,
Yeah.
that is a huge misconception. And that has actually hindered reaching out to mentally ill patients, because most people believe that I cannot help them because why they are mentally ill is because they did something wrong. I don't want to help them so that the thing will not come and jump on me. You understand? Then another misconception again that affects our society is they believe that mental illness can never be managed. It has no medical management or a medical cure. Most persons believe that mental illness is permanent. Now, when it comes to mental illness, there are varieties. Even as epilepsy is, it's actually a mental illness itself. Sometimes we believe mental illness means that you just have to lose cognition of your environment. That means you're mentally ill. No. Now, when we're in school, I always thought mental illness had to do with the people that are picking dirts in the roadside. But actually, it's not just that. Mental illness just simply means that you are deviating from the normal state your mind ought to be. And thin line between there's a thin line between being healthy mentally and being unhealthy. And most of the times you are in the middle, and there's a tendency you can fall into the state whereby the person is mentally ill. Now, because of this misconception, people rarely reach out to people that have mental illness, because they believe, oh, it cannot be cured. but it actually can be managed. There are people that have what we call schizophrenia, and schizophrenia has various types. But an example of schizophrenia are those people that pick dirty along the road. It's called hebephrenic schizophrenia. Then there are some that you see that they are quiet. There will be times that they will be quiet, calm, withdrawn from people. And there are times that they will just be very violent. They will scatter everywhere. And later, when you ask them, what did you do? They'll say they don't remember. That is also an example of that
Mental health.
schizophrenia. Now, those persons, they are actually treated in the hospital. They can be treated. Though in Nigeria, basically, um, to actually assess health services for someone that has mental issue is very expensive. An example of a place where someone can actually assess it is the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital in Benin City. So that one is one of the misconceptions. They believe that, oh, it cannot be cured. Another misconception that actually is something that we should not overlook is that people believe that mental illness does not affect children. They say, oh, mental illness is just only for adults. It's just for adults. But according to statistics, about 14% of adolescents already start having issues with their mental health. So imagine somebody is 14 years old and then the child is showing some elements of mental illness. And the mother now is saying, it's only adult that can have it. That child will grow to an adult and then your child will start manifesting it. Majority of people you see that are adults that are manifesting mental illness, it started from when they were adolescents. Yes. So it takes for the parent to be very observant to know that, oh, my child is behaving like this. For example, most of the times children have vivid imagination, they can hallucinate, yes. But when you notice that this child's behavior is erratic, a child will be in school and the child is always fighting his peer group, and you say, oh, that is what children of their age do. Or you see a child is always withdrawn, he does not participate in class. That is actually a warning sign for the mother to actually take that child to see a psychologist. Then when they notice that, oh, it's something that is severe, the person can be sent to see a psychiatrist. So they actually feel like, oh, little children don't have mental illness. So by the time they see little children that have mental illness, they feel like, this one is somehow, this one there is help for the child. I've actually seen a child, I think the girl is 14 years old, and she was down with mental illness. But there's something the parents did not do. The parents did not take the child to the hospital. I'm a Christian and I believe very well in God's healing power. Yes. But, one thing I would advise is you take the child to the hospital. When the doctor says their diagnosis, when you are praying, you will work with that diagnosis or the doctor has said. So they never, ever took the child to the hospital. And the child started portraying some characteristics. You get? Or you have a child, the child is already 10 years old, the child cannot read. The child is finding it difficult to understand. There's something wrong with the child's mental state. The child might be having a particular mental disorder. It's not that the child is mad. It can be that the child's IQ is low due to some other conditions. It can be that the way the child was born. But you see, because we believe that mental illness cannot affect a child in Nigeria, we don't work on it fast. And with time, it will progress to the level whereby it will be very difficult for us to curb the issue at then.
Correct.
So that is one big issue. Then also another issue, another misconception. There are many, but I'm just working with time to just say the little we can say. Probably we can have another time to say it. Another one that they have is that they believe that people that have mental illness are violent. They believe that all mentally ill people are violent. They are destructive. But the truth is that most people that have issues with their mental health, they are actually vulnerable to violence. It means that they are actually the victim of violence. Imagine someone that is having, let me use a common one, someone that is having low IQ, or someone that is depressed, and the person has lost touch of reality. That person can easily be abused by someone. So we usually think that these mentally ill patients, that they are violent. Yes, there are some mental illness that the patient can actually exhibit violence, but there are some that the patient will not exhibit violence at all. Sometimes they will even be quiet. For example, someone that is depressed, how can someone that is depressed be violent? That person self can be a victim to violence. Some persons they actually abuse physically, sexually when their mental state is altered. Just like someone that took alcohol. Alcohol will alter your mental state and then you'll be vulnerable. So this is one misconception that we have. So because of we are scared that they are violent, nobody wants to reach out to them. You see that these mentally ill people, they will roam around the streets, they will not be fed, they will have to go to, most of the times they will have to end up stealing because they are hungry. Some of them, because of we are scared that they are violent, we don't reach out to them, and there are a lot of things that can happen. You get? Then also the common then there's a funny one. It's going to be funny if I say it. One funny misconception people have is when somebody that is mentally ill bites them, they will have the mental illness. It's very funny. It's very, very funny
I wouldn't
because
blame them because I used to have that as well when I was growing
okay,
up. Even as of 25th years of my life, I still believe that a mad person biting you, you will be mad until
yeah.
I
So
got good and I noticed that when I left the country, I know that all those things are just bias, that the people are just being misled.
yes. Now, of a truth, if the person bites you, it will be painful, good and fine,
Mhm.
but it will not be transmitted because mental illness is actually something that alters the mind, the brain. It's not
Mhm.
transmitted by blood. Although mental illness can be inherited, that is
Mhm.
why most people, when they want to get married, they'll tell you to do, they will actually check for history if the person have mental illness in their family. And I've noticed a father can have a particular mental illness, and then the children can also. That one,
Have
the
it.
the physiology is quite not clear. Scientists are actually working on it, but the thing is, when a mad person bites, sorry for using the word mad, we're not supposed to use the word mad, sorry. When a mentally ill person bites someone, it does not transmit it. So because of that fear that we are scared that they are violent, scared that if they bite you, they will transmit it. We're scared that because we're scared that the reason why they have mental illness because they did something wrong, it makes the society stigmatize them and little care is rendered to them. And with time, we have increased number of people with mental illness roaming around the streets without help. There are lots. It can be caused by substance abuse. I have seen when we're still students in school during our psychiatric training, I saw that these people that have issues with addiction with drug, they can be helped and they will be better. They can go on about their normal life. And you will not know that this person actually was admitted into a mental hospital before. It's because the people around did not actually go with this misconception.
Mhm.
Then there is another misconception that is very funny. They believe mental illness is season, and there's a season that the mental illness comes up. They believe that it's a particular season of the year. There will be a lot
It
of
comes up. Say
but
every year, like every November, the thing will just touch.
and that's what people feel. But the question is, somebody might be having, let's say, someone might be, let me say, someone that has someone at home that has mental illness, and they discover that at a particular point of the year, the person start exhibiting the symptoms. Now, the fact there is that it might be that that particular time of the year or that month, something happened that creates a trigger. For example, there are people that have anxiety disorder. That means they get scared easily. And probably what happened was that at a particular time of the year, maybe for example, the person was admitted in the hospital and maybe a loved one was admitted in the hospital and the person died. Because of the trauma, whenever that particular time comes, the person will remember that trauma and it will instigate that mental disorder. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or someone that was sexually abused, someone that was raped, for example, at a particular time. When that time comes up, depression can set in. It's not that it's the season that caused it. It's that it was that time, an event happened at that time that triggered that reaction. So
The
whenever
reaction.
that yes, whenever that time come and the person remembers this is what happened at this time, the person will actually relapse again. So in such a scenario, they will help the person to overcome that fear or overcome that event. So when you don't understand, you say, the mental illness is seasonal. No. Or a student that fails an exam, or the student falls sick during the exam. Whenever the student wants to write an exam, the fear that they will fall sick or something bad will happen, they will start exhibiting it. And sometimes stress itself, physical stress, mental stress, can also trigger this. There was a situation where we're in school. She's actually a student. She's actually a student, and she was preparing for a final exam. Now, that period was very stressful for students. So the stress itself was what caused her to break down. You get? So there are activities that can trigger these symptoms to come back. It's not that it is seasonal. So that is why we guard what we hear, we guard what we see, and we guard what we think. Because there's a thin line between mental healthiness and mental illness. We guard what we eat, we guard what we take. Most of the times when I see youths abuse drug, they don't know the effects and how far this thing can actually damage their mental health. They don't know the neurons and the nerves in the brain and in the neurological system that are being damaged by the abusing of those drugs. So we see that from all the misconception I've said, one thing that it does is that it causes the society to stigmatize mentally ill patients, and less care is given to them. And when less care is given to them, their condition will worsen. And if it's something that will lead to them losing their life, they will end up losing their life. So this misconception itself has dealt with our society that it has made a response to people that are mentally ill to be very bad, very much. And the funny thing is, in literally every society we're in, there is someone that has issue with their mental state. Because if you cannot tell me that someone is moody. When someone is moody, the person is sad or angry. There's alteration already. So it is the response that will actually help the person. That is why you see children that are already exhibiting issues. Probably they are depressed or they're having anxiety issue. And then the parents are having this misconception that small pikin they get mental illness, that kind of conception. The child's health will start deteriorating. And with time, the child's case will grow, and maybe the child will want to look for other means to help curb the issue, and then they will resort to drug, which will further aggravate it. So that is the little misconception I can actually explain, because we have little or no time, that has actually plagued mental health in our society today.
All right. You have answered the number two questions that I wanted to ask you already. So,
Okay.
and you have also answered number three. So I think because of how you have used your examples and you have answered number two and three, let's go straight to number four. The question is, how do cultural factors impact the perception of mental health, and what can we do to promote a more inclusive and understanding environment for people that have mental health issues? How can we
Okay.
include them?
Okay. Thank you very much. See, uh, in a society or in a country like Nigeria, in as much as people are knowledgeable, they are educated, culture actually has a strong hold on our mental states or on how we think. And one thing our culture have done is that it makes it seem like when people have mental illness, it is what they have done or is caused by an evil spirit, and then they will not actually use the right approach. Or sometimes they actually believe that staying, they have a lot of wrong misconception that our culture has already done. And sometimes they'll say because this person is mentally, you don't give this person so kind of food. But now, what we can actually do to help the society is actually enlightenment, just like we're doing right now. Is to enlighten the community, and it starts since this actually starts from smaller communities. It's enlightening the rural communities, not just urban, because most of the time, urban communities have access to the social media where they can get these things, but in the rural community, they don't have access to it. Like, for example, where I'm working is a riverine community and they don't have access to the social media. There are some practices they do based on their culture, even though we have told them this thing is wrong, they will still do it. So the best thing is actually create a community mobilization and enlightenment. And though it's kind of not easy due to transportation access and financial issue, but if we can get to these communities, give them enlightenment on how to respond to mentally ill patient, and also if the government can actually create subsidized rates for people to access healthcare in relation to their mental health. The government have actually provided primary healthcare centers in communities where they can access free child and maternal healthcare services, but free mental health services is not available. So if they
It's
can
not
actually make this
about
available, it will help, because in the process of giving these free mental health services, the doctors, the nurses, psychologists, they can actually enlighten these people one-on-one also on how to handle their mental health.
all right.
So that's
Nigeria is
right.
a country that psychologists are anybody that reads psychology doesn't have a job. Are you
Hello.
getting it? They believe that you just go to school and read psychology. But in foreign countries, psychologists are the ones teaching together with
Yeah.
nurses because depression is the number one rating that happens to everybody in any given time. Are you getting it? You see somebody laughing and is depressed. Somebody is smiling and is going through a lot. Are you
Yes.
getting it? Even me and you doing
Yeah.
this video now, nobody knows what we are in the background, what is eating us up. Are you getting it? And you look
Yes.
at, and the problem has become that you don't know who to talk to. Are you getting it? You don't know who to
Yes.
confide in. You don't even know who to tell your story, and the person will not mock you. So the pain of I don't want the society to mock me. I don't want the society to laugh at me. I don't want the society to learn from my story. They will start doing something different. Talking up. Are you getting it? I was telling one of my
Yes.
friends that my husband's supposed to know that I'm this. I said, in marriage, there is nothing like talking. You don't talk up issues and assume the next person to become a wizard or a witch to know that you are in pain. You talk. Are you getting it? When you
Yes.
talk, you unburden your mind with some issues. But because of what society, especially in Nigeria, Africa as a whole, when you tell them about something, maybe you talk of rape. If it's a woman, you talk of rape. All the men, even those that are the rapists, will blame you that maybe it's because of the way you dress or because you are so loose. They will stigmatize you, they will talk down on you and blame you, give you 1 million reasons why the rape was your fault. Are you getting it? So
Yes.
people, when they were raped or when they are mistreated or when they were abused by some were even abused by their father. But because of they don't want what they don't know what society will talk about them, the thing is depreciating and downgrading them on the brain. The issue is a shock to them. They don't know. So anything you do to them, they will react. They will get easily irritated and they react aggressively because they don't know who to trust. Some people have trusted so many people and the trust was lost. Are you getting it? So these are
Yes.
some of the issues that from my own experience I've seen that it has caused a lot of mental depression in people. Many people are depleted mentally. Are you getting it? So
Yes.
thank you for throwing more light. So I look at it, I said, look, I've done education in my first edition of Enlightenment Talk Show because I look at it, I say people are not being educated in many things. They say when you travel, you see that you have been in the dark. Many things will be coming so clear to you. Are you getting it? I say, wow, my people need to see many things because many Africans, some of them even travels, but they don't still see the reason to get enlightened the more, even though they have traveled around the world. Are you getting it? They care about the money
Yes.
and not the things they're supposed to know to help the people because there's a reason why you travel to get knowledge, gain knowledge and sell it out to others. But some people, their purpose of traveling out of Nigeria is to make money, to showcase to people that I am in Canada now. I can send you 100 million now. Are you getting it? Their mind is still, this is my friend, we say quagmire. Say their mind, their brain is mangled, that they still don't know. They are not still enlightened. So thank you for throwing more light on this. I'm going to ask you the last question, which is the fifth question, which is, are there specific language choices or phrase we should avoid when discussing mental health to just for us to shift from further stigmatization from people?
Okay. Um, Thank you very much. When it comes to addressing them, when the first time actually when we undergo training in school, when I had to do psychiatry, when we undergo training, there was something I was first highlighted and I was always highlighted to us. And that thing is we should never at any time call them mad people. It is actually wrong to say, see that madman, that mad woman. At best, what you should say is she is mentally ill. She has a mental disorder. She's mentally ill. Because saying mentally ill doesn't mean you're insulting the person. You're actually telling this person's state. You don't have to say that madman. It's just like, for example, somebody has malaria. Will you say that malaria woman? Or somebody
No.
has cancer. You say that cancer woman. Or somebody has HIV. You say that see that
Is
girl,
that
HIV girl. No. At best, you will say she is suffering. She's sick. She's suffering from a chronic illness. So we're not supposed to say, oh, see that madman. No, we don't use those terminologies. Then also, when we are relating with these people, we should not feel like they don't know. Most of the time, when you just see someone is mentally, we just believe that they don't understand what we are saying. No. One thing we want to do is be sincere with them. Don't lie to them. Because they're already in a state that is altering it. Don't lie to them. Don't give false hope. Say the truth. And also, with some persons that have mental illness, one thing we should also do is that we should also make sure that they are always in a calm environment. They are calm. We are careful of the words. We should not use retrogressive words to them. We should not use harsh words to them. Make them feel loved and cared for. Because most of the times, the cure to most mental illness, even before you take them to the hospital, is the care and the words you say. Words are very, very powerful. Like very, very powerful. Imagine someone that is very depressed, and then you say, speak to those person because communication with them will actually help. So the first most important thing is that you don't address them with their states that they are mad. At best, you say the person is mentally ill, and that should be it. Not saying that mad girl, that mad boy, that person in the craze, that person in picking the craze. No, it's actually not right to use those words again towards them. It's not ethical at all to use such words against them.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much because when I left Nigeria, I was not be able. You can't call in abroad. You can't call anybody. Are you getting it? So when
Yes.
I first came in, I was like that madman. That someone was like, I said, wow. I said, but it's a common norm in Nigeria. That madman, you are mad. Are you getting it? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Hey. But I said, I wish every Nigerian should be able to travel out so that most of our, it's not that we know, is it that we know? Because me, I don't know. You know, you worry, you thank God you are warfare.
Yeah.
You know, you worry to call person you dey close. It's like good morning, right?
Yeah.
Those words, you are mad, your father there. They are like a phrase. Are you getting it? So
Yeah.
when these things start happening and so many people was like, don't say it here. I was like, wow, I started instead of you to tell somebody the person is mad, tell person the person is tell somebody you are trying to explain to that the person is mentally altered or the person is mental disorder. That madness means mentally altered health. Are you getting it? Or
Yeah.
disease. I said okay. I said so. You don't tell somebody. Don't call it mad. It's a vulgar name. I said wow. So I started say mental illness, mental disorder. I say I just realized that with talking to so many people in the course of evangelism and talking to people privately, encouraging people, I came to understand that so many people are depression is real. Are you getting it? Many causes of mental illness is not just because of smoking. You know, in Nigeria, anybody that is mad, either the person did something and it backfire to the person, or the person is smoking, or the person is on drugs. Are you getting it? Or they say, and don't touch her, and don't touch her. All those things are what we believe in Nigeria that makes someone mentally healed. But I've come to realize that all those things are lies. Some people don't do anything, and that comes to them because it was inherited. As we said, some people inherited it from their parents. Are you getting it? It's in their
Yeah.
DNA. So if it is not first discovered, when that particular time come, are you getting it? And they will say, they will start pointing finger to a particular man or woman to be the cause. Are you getting it? Whereby it is
Yes.
something that is in their DNA. So I thank you for enlightening our mind on this. And it now was straight down to what I still know here. Are you getting it? What I've known here that mental health is number one priority. We need to know. There are some things I don't read online now, but I've come to discover that so many shock or so many things that cause people to sometimes to be moody. I've come to realize that it comes with the mental state of what I hear. Are you getting it? So there are
Yes.
things that somebody might say to me, I will smile, but within me, the words registering start occupying, and I will start feeling bad. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Maybe out of empathy. It's not that the person insulted me, but maybe me. Are you getting it? Person might be saying, sorry, do you know that so person died? They will just say it's wow. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
But the fact that the person that they are announcing dead is also a human. the person before dying was a human. Are you getting it? Or the person that
Yes.
something happened, maybe fire incident or acid was poured upon, looking at it like, I don't crush up, I don't crush up, and they go and blast it. Yes, that was an action, but for people like us who are empathic, it is something unnatural for us that listening to that kind of thing. So I've come to realize that there are some news that what is coming in sometimes if some messages are coming into my phone, like when I'm doing something, I'm seeing them, I might
Yeah.
be they look immediately. I get it. Once I click the topic, I'll just be doing it because I don't want to read the details. There are some channels that I've avoided on Facebook. There are some people, some of these kids, a lot of things makes me to stop watching Nigerian movies. Are you getting it? Because of
Yes.
always how they kill, 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 how they use jazz, they use different things to kill people. So it makes me to stop watching, and I don't watch action movies. Are you getting it? You know that I never believe that I can even go into auxiliary nursing before I leave. I never know I can even touch blood. I never believe I can touch blood. But that my matron then was like, you will do it. I closed my eyes and I do some serious one day. As I after doing it for the first time, I vomited for like my say is normal. But some of the shocks that I perceive during those periods of doing you're touching different things from people's body, putting your hand in some things makes me to drop nothing. I didn't even go further. After 2 years, I dropped. Are you getting it? I dropped completely because I thought that if I wanted to treat the people, I put all of myself as if it's happening to me. And I started seeing that when somebody is sick and comes to me for treatment, I will come to be like the headache. I will try to put the person in my shoe before I can treat the person. So sometimes they don't even pay me what I'm supposed to be paid. I'll be paying them. I tell myself if I carry on with this, I can't make money with nothing. So it's not part of me. I just left the profession. Are you getting it? Sometimes they will come and begging me, please treat me. I don't have money. This, that, blah, 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 with so many, And looking at it, I put myself. Sometimes when some people tell me what they are passing through, I will cry all night. I left the line. Are you getting it now? I left the line.
Yeah.
So thank you for giving us more education on this. And I know subsequent topics we can still discuss them because mental health is voluminous. This is just the preamble. It's voluminous. We can still talk more of it next time. And thank you for bringing out your time. I know what we went through for you to even have this time you gave to me, but thank you for still doing it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I know we can do so many things together. Thank you so much. And thank you to all my listeners.
Yeah.
Even though we are here, I will share this video to all my platforms. So I know it's not just Telegram. Telegram is not what I do it for. Many people are sending me messages at 2 o'clock and past. I tell them check. I couldn't even reply because of the video. But I know that
Yeah.
I will still share. That's why I was recording this recorded. So I have to
Okay.
share it to all my platforms for them to know that it's not only Facebook again. No, we can still do it in Zoom, we can still do it in
Yes.
Google Meet, we can still do it anywhere. And thank you for opening my eyes that Telegram can do it better. I think
Yeah.
this one it doesn't even have network feature. Facebook. Facebook
Yes.
sometimes is telling you network this and that. It doesn't. This one is even safe data more than Facebook,
Yes.
and I thank you for that. We are here on earth to help each other, and thank you for helping me today. I know I will still help you one day. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. And
Thank
thank
you.
you, Naya Charity. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time and your presence. I hope you learned something. Please can you share your question and experience all this my Telegram page. I will send it to Liberty or we will answer you after this. I know you have questions, that's why you joined and you were patient enough to wait. Please send your questions to us, it will be answered. Thank you so much. Thank you, Liberty. See you some other
Thank you.
time. I
All
know
right,
you're
ma.
tired of following people to go and work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.